absolutely abysmal. They got all this money and they're still so stupid. How'd they ever make all their money being this stupid? Forget a rebuild. They should just fold the entire thing. Yeah, I'm about ready to be done with this blue piece of crap too. Yeah, man, I hear ya. Anyway, enough about Twitter. It's a shame about the Leafs tonight, eh? I thought they played well. They did play well. You're not gonna win them all. Let's go! Give me what I want! Kick down the door! Drew, you are not doing this! Not nice! There's a giant head! You hear yourself? I made like 2,000 of these. I'd like to have fun. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Sigh. Leafs lose 4-2 to the Pittsburgh Penguins, except it was really 3-2 because there was the empty netter and they had 4 attempts at the empty net and they couldn't score on any of them. Well, they did score on the last one, but they couldn't score on any of them. Listen, I'm going to level with you. This is going to be a one-taker, but this isn't a hellfire and brimstone one-taker. This isn't this team is in crisis. This isn't a euphoric one-taker. This is I have no energy one-taker, and I'll tell you why in a sec. Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook. See how I just went seamlessly into that? If you want to bet on your favorite team or against your least favorite, why not do it at Sports Interaction? You can bet before the game, live in play, or on one of their many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Visit sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Now, the reason I got no energy. Oh yeah, bud. Well, I saw that going differently. The reason I got no energy is because I played in the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic today in support of Easter Seals. And I do got to talk about this because I've been bothering you with this for about a month. So, basically what it is, oh my God, you can see like my whole setup in the whatever, I don't care. Basically what it is, so I tell you about the fact that it's for Easter Seals. We're raising money for kids with physical disabilities. You can send families to, special inclusive camps and get specialized equipment and all these things that change the lives of people. Rachel's Raiders, that's my team, raised over $80,000, and as a tournament, we raised over $500,000 was the number I was given. That's unbelievable, and I know times are tight. I know times are tough. The last couple of years, in terms of fundraising, were really lean. This year was exemplary. You guys were absolutely fantastic, and there were some big donations, for sure, but it was an army of $50, $20, $10, and $5 donations. There were over 600 donors just to my fundraising page, not just the Rachel's Raiders team, not just in the tournament. It takes a village, and I'm so glad that you all helped with that. Now, the reason I'm tired, though, isn't from the fundraising. It's from after the fundraising. There's an actual hockey tournament, and I played in it, and I was not very good. Did I score? No, I didn't. And you'd think it would be beneath most people to talk about their secondary assists in a charity tournament, but I'm pretty sure I got a secondary assist. In the last game, it's 3 games. You play 3 games at these things. 15-minute periods, continuous clock, so it's 45 minutes of hockey times 3, and we only had like 11 skaters, 12 skaters, so basically you're playing about 22 minutes times 3. You're playing like 3 NHL games if you were a star, and I am very not, and I have no energy, and I don't know if it seems like it, and I am broken. The whole team is broken. Rib, that knot that you get in your shoulder blade, oh, that's out. That's out for sure. It was going, it was threatening to go, and I said, you stay in there. And it's like, all right, I'll stay in there, but if you take the slightest bump, and then I fell down in front of the net, and it's like, whoop, here I go. So I can't. I can't tonight. I can't. But what I can say, thank you for making Rachel's Raiders the top fundraising team again this year. We got to play, producer Drew, can you put it here? We got to play with Raymond Bork. Ray Bork was the celebrity that we picked to play with this year. In the third game, he said, hey, do you want to wear my jersey? So I did, and Leaf fans can be very upset with me about that if you want. But if Ray Bork told you to wear his jersey, or even gave you the option, if he offered to let you wear his jersey, you would take it. It was for one game at a charity tournament. Shut your face! Anyway. He wore a Rachel's Raiders jersey. I didn't see any Bruins or Avalanche fans giving him any crap. Anyway, he was lovely to play with. Scored some despicable goals. Had the nastiest case of skate bite I have ever seen. He was bleeding after the first game, and he was just a warrior. He asked someone for a cloth. He cut it up, put it in his skate. He's an animal out there. Animal. No complaint. Best skater on the ice, to no one's surprise. Anyway, so that's what I was doing all day. And obviously I came home to watch this game. And I don't know how to put into words what that Boreas Salming ceremony was. Obviously, it's Hall of Fame weekend. And there's always a lot of pomp and circumstance, and Alfredson and Luongo and all these speeches. But it obviously became about Boreas Salming, who has had a battle with ALS that has gone the wrong way in a very short amount of time. But it was so emotional. All the fans going nuts for him. Matt Sundin there with him. Sittler crying. I don't know. I don't know what there is to be said. But I don't know how you mentally recover from seeing that and play a hockey game afterward. I don't know. I don't know. But here's what I do know. And this is a bit of a blind spot in my Leaf fandom as well. We got to know more about this guy, and we need to celebrate this guy more. And I'm not talking about, some of you are like, what? I grew up watching him. That's fine. You're fine, obviously. I was born in 88. I was born the year Gretzky was traded. So I didn't get to see, was I even alive when Salming was in the league? Maybe the very tail end. I need to do better in terms of knowing his numbers, knowing his history, and digging up footage. It might not be the easiest footage to find, but this guy is a true Leaf legend and hockey legend. If I'm not mistaken, he's a top scoring Leaf defenseman of all time. And I want to say the first ever European player ever inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He was a warrior. That famous picture of the cut on his face, like that cut wasn't an accident. That was the Broad Street Bully Philadelphia Flyers ganging up on him, more than one guy on him, because hockey in the code or some crap. I don't even know. But all the stereotypes we were fed for so long about European players and Swedes were a lie. They weren't just a stereotype. They were an outright lie. And players like Boreas Salming deserve an apology for that nonsense that we grew up with. And he was an absolute warrior. He's exactly the type of hockey player that Canadians and Americans and everyone around the world should model their game after. Just an absolute legend, absolute beast, and it's just not fair. I got to see him at the Centennial Classic alumni game, and Brian McCabe was calling him Skeletor because he had the best body on the team. He was like by far and away the oldest guy on the team, and it's like between him and Gary Roberts, like in terms of just absolutely shredded. The dude was in his late 50s or early 60s when he was in underwear ads in Sweden. Börje Salming is and will forever be a legend in the sport and just in life. Now for the game. This is one of the rare ones where I don't actually have a ton to say. And sometimes I think these are okay when the moment calls for it, when there isn't necessarily that much to say about the game, and there's a game the next day. We got a Hockey Night in Canada game. It's the Vancouver Canucks. They're absolutely reeling. The Leafs are either going to have Matt Murray in net or Keith Petruzzelli. Drama either way. You have a goalie who hasn't played for a month because he got hurt in the first game, or you have a rookie making his NHL debut Hall of Fame weekend on Hockey Night in Canada. No pressure, kid. Either way, you can watch me stream the game on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. Watch Hockey Night in Canada with Steve Dangle. But this was similar to the game against Vegas in that the Leafs, I thought, outplayed their opponent. Maybe not cumulatively by the end of the game, but definitely through the first 40 minutes. I thought the Leafs were the better team. They were getting better shots, sort of getting better chances. But as Mike Johnson pointed out on the broadcast, Leafs still allowing way too many odd man rushes, just rushes in general. And while the game-winning goal that Eric Källgren allowed wasn't good, and that's what's going to stick out in people's mind, the Leafs don't really make his job very easy at all. And I know there are a lot of numbers to suggest that the Leafs are top half in terms of defensive teams in the NHL, and all goals are born from mistakes. Man, they make a lot of mistakes. And I hated the second goal. I mean, I want to know how that's Eric Källgren's fault in any way, shape, or form. Justin Hall gets completely, absolutely caught. Puck, that's the NHL goal. That's the video game goal. Just cross-slot banger. One-timer. I don't know what he's supposed to do about that. But they fought. They fought. Zach Aston-Reese scores against his former team. That's really cool. I like that. William Nylander robs himself on the post somehow. Gets it right back on the power play off a sick play with Morgan Riley. I like that. That's really cool. The Leafs and Penguins were going at it all night, boxing each other back and forth. Evgeny Malkin got extremely mad at the referee for calling him for bear hugging an opponent's stick, which you're not allowed to do. There was some chippiness to this game. And yes, they lost. No, they didn't get a point out of it. But you're going to lose games. I really don't like that they lost this game because of the pregame ceremony and everything. Just the perfect bookend. You know what I mean? It would have been amazing if the Leafs had that ceremony and won this game. But I thought they played well. And you're just not going to win every game. Should I scream about they lost to a 42-year-old Zamboni driver who works for them? Some people think I'm just a Leaf homer, and other people think that I'm just way too negative about the team. And I'm going to throw it out there that I might just be telling you what I feel about the Leafs. When I was really down on them a few weeks ago, they were playing like crap. And they've lost their last two games. They're playing well. They're making too many mistakes, and you could argue that they should have beaten Vegas and they should have beaten Pittsburgh. They didn't. And they're making the amount of mistakes that I expect them to clean up over time. Before the playoffs, before the trade deadline. Honestly, before Christmas. This Leafs team, even though they lost, I was watching them and I'm like, this is gaslighting. This performance is gaslighting. I was right to be mad a couple weeks ago for the way this team was playing because of the way they've played the last week or so. Where has this been? It was there the whole time. They just opted to not play that way. The way they played against Boston, the way they played against, who else did they beat? Carolina in a game that's a scheduled loss. And they come out with the win. The way they played against Vegas, yes, in a losing effort. The way they play against Pittsburgh, yes, in a losing effort. I'll throw the Philly game in there. But Philly. They're not, they're doing better than we thought, but One thing I will say for sure, Rasmus Sandin is going to mess around and get a healthy scratch at some point. And B, Sheldon Keefe is essentially yelling and screaming from the rooftop in every line change he makes and every time he gets the blender out. He's yelling and screaming at the rooftops, Kyle! I need a left winger! Like, he's fidgeting way too much for anyone to get any chemistry. Nick Robertson, it feels like the only line Keefe really trusts him to play on is with Nylander and Tavares. So now you got Bunting and Kerfoot playing musical chairs. And when they need a goal, you're throwing William Nylander into that slot. And Malgin was in there somehow. And it's just... I feel like Matthew Nyes will join the team at some point, but that's months from now. Months from now. And it's going to be after the trade deadline. If they do make a move, I wonder if that's the one. I wonder what's available out there. I don't know. What do you think? I think that's it. I hope you liked it. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I really do. So that I could be a little bit more hellfire and brimstone for the game against the Canucks. That is it for this one, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that LFR is now available in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts. Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify. We're on Spotify, and you can watch it on Spotify, which I didn't know was a thing. And, folks, thank you once again for donating to Easter Seals Ontario and helping kids be kids.